Hi, my name is Andy Mallet, and this is Glimmer DSL for SWT tutorial number 20. So today we're going to go through Hello Tray Item. So let's get started by launching the sample first. There it is. It's basically an application that is represented by a tray item in the Mac tray at the top right corner. So as you can see here, we have a whole bunch of tray items, and this is the one that I just launched. And you can see here it says this is the application. Click on the tray item, circles icon. You can see there nested circles are basically what the icon is. To open its menu, uncheck show application to hide the app and recheck it to show the app. So let's click on it and then uncheck show application. And as you can see, the application hid. It got hidden. So if I were to recheck it, there it is. The application shows up again. So, I mean, this is an example of a tray item application that you might load, and then at one point you might hide it and keep it loaded in the background as a tray item app. I mean, these are usually useful for things like related to monitoring applications or background services that you want to keep running in the background. While still providing the user with a way to access the application. So if I were to hit About, it just gives me an About dialog, an About message box, and if I hit Exit, I would exit the app. Before we do that, though, let's take a look at the code. So it's just a simple application that's a custom shell, meaning a custom window. It's got one attribute, which is show application. And before body, we pre-initialize it to true. And then here, there's something that's a bit interesting that is not very common usually, but you can do it, which is basically we've built an image of 16 by 16 pixels on the fly using vector graphics. So Glimmer DSL for SWT allows you to use the same vector graphics syntax for building rectangles and ovals and whatnot in order to build an image, and then use that image. And that's precisely how we built the icon and then used it over here. So if we were to scroll down, we have a shell representing the app. One thing to note is usually in the tray item apps, you want to keep the shell on top the whole time. That way, when I show the application, it shows on top of everything else. That's usually recommended in tray item apps. So if we were to, I mean, it's got a layout, it's got a title. On shell closed, it'll basically switch the show application status to false. So that means if I were to show the application and then instead of hiding it by unchecking, I can actually just click the close button and that hides the app. It does not exit. And that's because of this on shell closed. So by overriding it, you can prevent, and saying here do it false, you prevent the app from truly closing, and you actually just hide it, and then I'm updating the variable to also indicate false, meaning the app has hidden. Now, the more interesting part is tray item. So you can nest a tray item within a shell to indicate that you want to have a tray item for this app. And it's got a tooltip text for when I hover over it. So it just says Glimmer. And then I got an image. And the image could be loaded from a file normally, or in the case of this app, it was just convenient to construct the image on the fly using vector graphics. And yeah, typically you would want an image that's a 16 by 16 pixels. And then it's got a menu. This is what you see when you click on it. So the menu has a menu item of About. So it's a context menu, a pop-up context menu. And then we have a separator, we have a check menu item, which you saw over here, and it's data bound to the show application attribute on the view. And then when you select it, it either hides or shows the body root, and the body root is basically the root of the body of your application, which in this case is the shell. So it'll basically call hide and show on the shell. And then after that, there's another separator and an exit menu item, which will truly exit the app. Another interesting thing to look into is basically those events. You can hook into them and this gets triggered when I right click on the menu. This gets triggered if I left click on the menu, and you could do different things with them. But I mean, as you can see, otherwise by default, it'll just show us the menu. Otherwise, and then here are the labels that showed up in the middle of the application body, which were telling us to, you know, click on the tray item and uncheck and recheck, etc. So that's pretty much it. A few things to perhaps research is how to display notifications. If you want to keep an app in the background that displays notifications to users, which is a common use case, you can look up notifications libraries. The Eclipse Nebula project, which is available for Glimmer DSL for SWT, includes a notifications widget, which enables you to flash notifications for the user. There are multiple ways to basically show notifications. There are other libraries that let you hook into the notification system of the operating system. So you have multiple options there. In any case, that's pretty much it. In order to learn more about Glimmer DSL for SWT, check out the GitHub project.